All right, let's dive into something pretty incredible today, where cutting-edge AI meets everyday medicine. We're talking about chest x-rays and a brand new kind of artificial intelligence that doesn't just see an image, but actually reads the doctor's notes that go with it. So let's explore how an AI that can both see and read might just be a total game changer for our doctors. And that really brings us to the big question for today. Can an AI that understands medical language, can it really be a better sidekick for a radiologist than one that's just looking at pixels? That's the puzzle we're going to piece together today by looking at the hard data. But first, to really get why this is such a big deal, we need to talk about the huge challenge that doctors are up against, day in and day out. And when I say huge, I mean it. Chest x-rays are by far the most common imaging tool on the planet. But think about it, that massive volume, plus a global shortage of radiologists, creates some serious pressure. We're talking about burnout, mistakes, and just the simple fact that different experts might see different things. So for years, people have said, hey, let's use AI to help. But there's always been this one giant problem. Most AI systems are a total black box. They'll spit out an answer, like pneumonia, but they can't tell you how they got there. And for a doctor who has a patient's life in their hands, that's a deal breaker. You just can't trust a tool that can't explain itself. And this is where our story really kicks off. The research we're diving into today sets up this amazing head-to-head comparison, basically a showdown between two very different kinds of AI. So in one corner, you've got the image analyst. This is your classic AI. It only looks at one thing, the image itself, the pixels. That's it. But in the other corner, you have the medical analyst. This one is what we call multimodal. It's a fancy way of saying it uses multiple types of information. It doesn't just see the X-ray, it has also learned from the language and thousands of real medical reports written by human experts. So one sees, while the other sees and reads. So who won the fight? Well, let's get right to it. Let's pull up the scorecard and look at the numbers to see which AI came out on top. And wow, take a look at this. This table gives you the whole story in one shot. Over here is the basic image-only AI, and right next to it, the new guy, the one that reads. And as you just scan down this list of all the different ways they measured performance, you'll notice a pattern. The new model wins. Every single time. Let's break down what these numbers actually mean. Okay, let's start with this first number, the micro-averaged AUC. You see that little jump from 0.891 to 0.915? So what does that mean? Well, a higher score here means the model is just plain better at telling the difference between a healthy patient and a sick one. This little bump suggests the multimodal AI is more robust, more reliable. It's just better prepared for the huge variety of cases it would see in a real hospital. But hang on, because this next number is where things get really, really impressive. A nearly 12% jump in what's called the F1 score. Now, you can think of the F1 score as just a measure of overall accuracy. It's a balance between not raising false alarms and not missing anything important. A huge leap like this tells us one thing loud and clear. The AI that reads is way better at finding a whole range of diseases, especially those tricky or rare ones that an image-only model might just miss. And it's pretty much the same story with average precision, up over 11%. This is so important for the real world. You see, higher precision means that when the AI flags something, you can trust it more. For doctors and for you, that means fewer false alarms, less anxiety, and just way more confidence in the final call. Okay, so the numbers don't lie. The AI that both sees and reads is just better. But the real question is why? What's the secret sauce here? Why is adding language so powerful? This quote from the research paper says it all, really. By adding a large language model, or LLM, the AI stops just being a calculator that spits out a probability. It starts giving real, actionable support. The language gives it context, it gives it nuance. It's the bridge that helps the AI think more like a human doctor actually does. So let's just quickly recap the big advantages here. By combining pictures and words, the AI gets a major upgrade. First, it can spot tiny, subtle things that an image-only model would probably miss. Second, it gets way better at finding those rare conditions. That explains that huge F1 score jump we saw. Third, it boosts precision, which means fewer false alarms and fewer missed cases. And finally, like the scorecard showed us, it's just consistently better across the board. It all comes down to this. Learning from the language of experts gives the AI a much deeper understanding of what it's seeing. So let's zoom out for a second. What does all this mean for the future of AI in healthcare? Well, it points to a totally new kind of AI, one that isn't just smarter, but one that we can actually trust. And this is what that future might actually look like. First, the AI looks at the X-ray. But then, and this is the key, it writes up a report in plain English explaining what it found. Finally, the human expert, the radiologist, looks at both the image and the AI's report to make the final call. See, it's not about replacing the doctor. It's about giving them an incredibly smart, transparent, and reliable co-pilot. And honestly, this idea is way bigger than just radiology. This approach, combining raw data with the language of human experts, could be the blueprint for making AI a better partner in any field where the stakes are high. We're talking aviation, engineering, finance, anywhere that you absolutely need expertise and transparency. Which leaves us with this one final powerful question. Is this what the future of real human-AI teamwork looks like? Not a black box giving us commands, but a transparent partner that shows its work and, maybe most importantly, speaks our language. After seeing this research, it's hard not to think the answer is a definite yes.